Great. Sorry about the delay. All right. How's everyone doing? Good. Good. Okay. Sorry about the delay. My name is Dominick Lee. I'm an Avid inventor, programmer, and CEO of GyroPalm. And today I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about finding your passion in technology and the Internet of Things, IoT. And essentially, I'm going to share with you, to start with, a little bit about my story and how I found my passion in technology, and then how you can also find your passion through engineering and technology and what you want to do, kind of be able to focus on that. So first of all, a little bit about me. I'm an Avid inventor, programmer. I've been doing tech-related work for a long time. I'm an inventor at heart, so I like imagining, doing, conceptualizing, and building things. I graduated from Purdue, nominated by the university also to represent them as an innovation fellow, and also led several tech startups across the U.S. Just like how Alex said, you got to try again, right, to succeed. And every single startup that I led, I gained some great, valuable experiences out of that, and I continue to want to do that to help people and to also continue building my startup, which is GyroPalm. And that brings us to what is GyroPalm? Essentially, it is a patented wearable technology that I've invented several years ago. And the vision that I had was, I dreamed of one day people being able to control robots at a distance, people being able to control computers, appliances, the lights around you. And we were just saying that, my colleague and I, we were always talking about back in the day, how nice would it be if you just walked up to a door and you would be able to unlock it, or you would be able to interact with computers that you're next to. So like that setup that I just did, imagine if that was obsolete using the power of GyroPalm. Wouldn't that be wonderful, right? So what we're trying to do is we are actually building this wearable technology. We're inviting on board a big community, comprised of many experts and beginners. And what we're doing is we're introducing them to how to interact with robotics through gestures in many different ways. So that could be gestures that you can customize through AI and ML, machine learning, right, artificial intelligence. And I've also been a skilled musician, so on the side note, that helps because it gets you creative. It also allows you to add different things to the wearable. But then, just kind of going on to my leadership capabilities, a little bit about my story is, back in the day, I've always wanted to have a leadership mindset. I've always wanted to help people, and that goes into the roots of how I was brought up. But more than that, I had a passion to guide people in technology and kind of help people become the best they can be. So I led the club called the Life and Technology Club. I continued doing that with moving on with the leaders 7 years even after later. And then also, in addition to that, some projects that I've worked on in my startup would be GyroPalm, which is what I'm going to tell you more about. The Clay Doma, which is one of the world's first smart locks. So, just in case you guys don't know, smart locks are something that unlock your door anywhere you are. And I just made one that lets you do that anytime, anywhere, with any door. The world's first 4G smart shoes, and pill doc, reminder for the elderly to take their medications. I also ran as president of Purdue Mechatronics Club for 3 separate teams and led them to build MLH projects. So what you guys are doing is going to do a lot of projects, but what you want to do is, when you're doing your projects, kind of be able to identify your skills and kind of know where your strengths are, so that you can better guide your peers and also continue building great teams. I invented the world's first smart lock. Yeah, I said that. So also designed this Arduino flight simulator. So if you guys know Instructables, who's heard of Instructables? Some people? Okay, great. It's a great DIY website. You should check it out sometime if you haven't. I built a award-winning flight simulator and a couple more robots. So you might be wondering, okay, what's the point of this? What's the point of building a legacy, or what's the point of building something that you dream to be, and what's the point of persevering? And how do I, achieve my passion through it? You might be wondering that question right now. So my point is, be inspired to do a productive activity you enjoy. Now, I said productive activity. I didn't mean watch TikTok all day long. I didn't say go on YouTube and just binge, right? You got to be productive when you work. You got to love what you do. And as a wise mentor of mine said, if you love what you do, you get more results, less burnout. Because when you're in business, you got to do lots of that stuff. So the next thing is, you got to learn the skills you need to keep growing in your passion. So when you're passionate about something, there's a certain point before you start enjoying what you do. And until you get to that point, there's going to be a lot of learning involved. And sometimes learning is like a lifelong thing. But there hits a certain point where you really have lots of confidence in yourself. You'll be able to do things faster, you'll be able to be more creative, and you'll be able to have more leverage for faster implementation. And in the real world, the faster you do things, the happier people tend to be. You'll get to learn about that. And then finally, find the right colleagues to contribute to your project. Did I say any connections you make, keep them alive, keep them well, build your friends, build your peers. One day if you work at a company, you're going to have good clients, good leaders that you're going to want to keep connected with. That's very important, every single step of the way. So if you guys didn't use LinkedIn yet, or you're going to, or you're using it already, keep doing what you're doing, and keep adding people onto your connections. Identify your audience, ignore the naysayers. Well, isn't this one obvious? You got an amazing idea, okay, but this world, there's going to be people, not everybody, right, but there's going to be certain people whose goal of their professional mission is to kind of knock you down. And it's not because they want to necessarily, but because the nature of how they're doing their business, that's just what it involves. So what you got to do is you got to stay strong, you got to keep being resilient, keep persevering. Don't be afraid to ask questions, though, right, to the experts who are skilled in their field. I'm not saying ignore everybody. I'm saying ignore the people who are telling you can't do it. But you got to ask the experts, though. Maybe sometimes they are right. So, but get to know your audience. Get to know people who appreciate your vision. And those could be companies or people who you envision working with as well. And focus on your supporters. Drown out the noise. Be resilient and sharpen your message, because sometimes if you have an exciting idea, you might feel at the moment it's the best thing in the world. I want people to use that, right? And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you want to sharpen your message and continue building connections and build perspective, because perspective is everything when you're working in business, when you're being an entrepreneur, when you're being an engineer. And finally, count your blessings, learn from your experiences, and enjoy the process, right? Did I tell you that there's a lot of hardships along the way? Whatever the slides I showed you, the introduction I showed you, that's years and years of work. But you don't have to give up, or you don't have to be intimidated by it, because the reason why is today I'm not trying to be Iron Man here. I'm trying to tell you that you too, you could do all this stuff and perhaps more. So with that said, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my IoT and why I use IoT, and then do a couple of demos for you. Right? The Internet of Things is technology, and you guys, how many people know IoT? First of all, okay, everybody knows IoT. I'm going to quit the slide. So IoT is growing in rapid popularity, and the key reason why is because we got AI and we got amazing new ways to interact with it. And one of those being GyroPalm. You can see some of the projects I've controlled with GyroPalm, and I also built stuff along the side. And a lot of these things I like to keep intertwined. So if you actually do build several projects, kind of think about the similarities across each project and what you could do to maximize out of those. But there's 3 devices: general devices, sensors, and actuators. You guys are going to be programming a robot. You're going to have robots with actuators and sensors, actually. So bidirectional devices. You got to, get a microcontroller, work with computers and see how this works, right? So if you guys haven't done any work, or you've done selection criteria, you would understand that there's a selection that you need to do, choose the right protocols, choose what's best for your needs wirelessly. And lucky for you, if you work with GyroPalm, we got everything: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, IR, and more. So here's some free tools. People say there's no such thing as free lunch in life. Well, not if you have a good friend like me. I always like to share some tools that are open source and open for people to use. Now, there's always Postman, webhook site, GitHub. GyroPalm offers some open source code as well. Obviously, you'll need a wearable to get it to work, but we also offer open source code. And then IFTTT, which is a great way for you to experience the power of home automation and other smart things. All right, with that said, I have a live demo. And live demos, sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't. But let's hope this one goes well. First one is GyroPalm Kinetic. And who's seen Iron Man or Stranger Things? Oh, everybody, yes, a full house here, right? I'm going to demonstrate something that is going to I'm going to wirelessly be able to send some force over to those cups and knock them down. So, let's slowly move it there. And then the second one is a drone. I'll do a quick drone demo after that. And then there's one more surprise after that too. So I have AI and ML programmed onto the wearable. And what I'm about to do is I'm about to knock down some cups with the GyroPalm Kinetic, and what that allows me to do is I'm wirelessly sending some signals through my AI wearable, and it's going to detect the gestures. In this case, it looks like a kind of a Stranger Things or Iron Man effect. The other thing is that it's going to knock them down wirelessly by sending a signal to the 2 actuators in the back of those cups. Get your slow-mo.
They will help this work. It's actually you can actually program any motion with your hand. You can actually train the device to do any motion. He just did a joke with a Stranger Things idea, but he can program it to be a style. I don't know how to say that in English.
I want to give you a quick surprise before we move on to the drone demo, just because you have to wait through that long wait. But you guys, just everyone take a look at this camera and say cheese.
Cheese.
Did they say cheese? Queso.
This camera is like not modded, like it's an original camera. Ready? Alright, we're gonna do a quick drone demo.
The different one? Another 10 seconds for the drone.
Alright. Be careful, sometimes they escape. Yeah, be careful. Somebody catch that. Use your grip to catch that. Okay, it goes down. Let's see. Yeah. So last but not least, we have a final slide here. So you might be interested in doing more with IoT. You see certain things aren't perfect, but we're on a great phase. So if you're interested to do more with IoT and make an impact, two ways you can help. One is you could order a GyroPalm dev kit at gyropalm.com/order, create your own projects, unlock doors, fly drones, and more. Second is join the GyroPalm developer community. There's internship opportunities working on cutting edge and gesture control tech. And also you're going to be able to control it to a global audience because we do publish all our open source code. And you can reach me down here. If you have to, please take a photo of this. You have my direct number if you need to. Second thing is definitely hope you guys have a blast at CircuitLaunch. CircuitLaunch is a great community. I really appreciate what Alex and Dan have done here, and they're phenomenal. And I hope this message has resonated with you guys all very well. Thank you.